29-22, the final in Detroit. The Green Bay Packers get an upset win. The Lions have now lost 7 straight Thanksgiving games in a row. What a game this was today. So let's just hop right into it. So right out the gate, if we take a look at the scoring by quarter here, we can see in the first quarter the Packers got 20 points. This kind of set the tone for the game. And I know the scoring by quarter might not look like it did, but it did. So the Packers got 2 offensive touchdowns on back-to-back drives, then a defensive touchdown with a missed extra point. At the end of one, the score was 20-6, and then the Lions would not score again until the fourth quarter. The Packers wouldn't do much themselves either, as you can clearly see, but the Detroit Lions really just let this huge lead get into their heads. And we can see this with fourth downs. The Lions went 1-5 with fourth down. One of them being a horrendous fake punt. Like, I can't even describe it. It's 4th and 5. They snapped it to the fullback, going to the strong side of the Packers' defensive formation. Yeah, that didn't end so well, and then the Packers would end up getting a touchdown, I believe, on that drive, and then they would go for 2 to make it a 17-point game, and they'd miss it. But regardless, this game, actually, I don't think they got a touchdown there. I think they got the field goal there, but this game was a disaster for the Lions. And if you watched my AFC North video, which you probably didn't because it has 7 views, but I predicted this to happen in that video because the Lions haven't looked the same recently. They didn't look the same in Chicago. They didn't look the same against Las Vegas. And really, for the Detroit Lions, I'm not too sure they'll end up with the division. Like, their next game, they have the Saints and then the Bears, which, I mean, that's pretty easy. Then they have Vikings, Cowboys, Vikings as well in their schedule. And those are not wins. They could lose all 3 of those games. And maybe the Saints can beat them if they play like they did against Green Bay. Jared Goff had 3 fumbles. All of those were recovered by the defense. One of them was on a 4th down, so it wasn't as impactful. But, I mean, if you look at the stats, it's really clear as day. Jordan Love went 22 of 32 for 268 and 3, no interceptions. He didn't get sacked and had a QBR of 90.6. Jared Goff went 29 of 44 for 332, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, but 3 lost fumbles. And because of that, he had a QBR of 15.2. That is just crazy, the difference in QBR. The stats don't really tell you the full story. The QBR does. This was Jordan Love's. I know statistically it wasn't, but in my opinion, this is the best game of Jordan Love's career. This could not have been any better. Me personally, as a Packers fan, I'm very excited about Jordan Love. And really, from the whole NFL's perspective, now we're starting to see Jordan Love as the future QB for the Packers. When this team is healthy, if they're in the playoffs, which at 5-6, they have a really good shot to be in the playoffs. Currently, the number 7 seed is Minnesota at 6-5, which the Packers will have a chance to play in Week 17 with their backup quarterback, Josh Dobbs, although Josh Dobbs is not a bad quarterback. But this game was just so huge for the Packers and the Lions. I think this game is going to show you the general direction both of these teams go for the rest of the season. The Packers are going to go up. They're about to go on an absolute tear. Maybe they might not beat Kansas City, but after that they have they have New York, they have Tampa Bay, and they have Carolina. Those are 3 wins. They should realistically have at least 8 wins. At least 8 wins heading into their final 2 games of the season, which are Minnesota and Chicago. And, I mean, if I'm the Packers, if you only have 8 wins, I'd like to win both of those games, but you can probably get in the playoffs only winning 1 if it's the Minnesota game. Now, taking a look at the running stats for this game, Jordan Love rushing absolutely was huge. He had that one big run, but he went 3 for 39. And then as a team, the Packers went 22 for 109, averaging 5 a carry, and the long was a 37-yard rush from Jordan Love. The Lions went 31 for 140, so they had a lot more runs and quite a few more yards, and they averaged 4.5. They did get a rushing touchdown. The Packers did not get any rushing touchdowns, but the Lions had that 23-yard run from Jahmyr Gibbs, which absolutely bailed them out on that one series. And receiving-wise, The leading receiver of the game was Amon-Ra St. Brown with 95 yards, Christian Watson at 94. This was easily Christian Watson's best game of the season. Then you had Khalif Raymond with 90. So 3 90-yard receivers. The longest pass play of the day was the very first, right out the gate from Christian Watson, 53 yards. That was an absolutely huge play, and that really set the tone for the game as well. This game, that one play could summarize this game for the Lions. Their defense underperformed, Jordan Love was deadly accurate, and Christian Watson was on fire. Packers found the end zone 3 times, and in this 29-22 victory, I think is monumental for both of these teams. For me, this just locks in the Eagles getting the 1 seed. I don't think the Eagles are going to lose 2 more games, and I don't think the Lions are going to win out. So, the Eagles are loving this. The Eagles are thanking the Packers a lot. 49ers thanking the Packers a lot, and the Vikings are thanking the Packers a lot. Because the Vikings want to shout out the division, they could get this, but the Packers aren't out of the question for the division either. If the Lions just start dropping games, they're still the favorite to win the division, but if the Lions start dropping games and only end with like 10 wins, that might not be enough for the division title, and that would just be crazy if the Packers or the Vikings have a home playoff game. Now, the 5 seed might be better because you're playing whatever loser team comes out of the South, but hey, who knows? Playoff games are crazy. Anything can happen. Having home field advantage would be really nice. So, to wrap up this game, game report here, I think, to sum it up, next week, the Lions need a bounce back game. They need to beat New Orleans. They need to win that game. They need that. Because Amon-Ra St. Brown, they have the Bears after New Orleans. Amon-Ra St. Brown, one on the podcast, is the brother of Equanimeous St. Brown, wide receiver for the Bears, said the Bears are a bunch of choke artists. That's why I think the Bears are going to beat them in 2 weeks from now. They need to have a bounce back game against New Orleans, and if they are losing 2 straight heading into that Bears game, I don't like their chances. And they could end up leaving this stretch of 3 games against the Packers, Saints, and Bears. All games, by the way, they're going to be favored in going 8-5. That's a possibility to me. I think they're going to end up going out of it 9-4 because they're going to beat the Saints, but there's a chance they don't. And for the Packers, what they need to do is they need to get the ball rolling. That Chargers game was a good start. That gave them, that opened the door to the staircase, and they just skipped the step. They just need to keep climbing up. Don't take a step down by losing to the Chiefs. Now, if you lose to the Chiefs, it's not the end of the world. You just need to beat the Giants next week. But if they can win the Chiefs and, jump up 5 steps on the staircase, the Packers could win out. If they can beat the Chiefs, I think the Packers are a very realistically chance to win out. And 11-6 is going to get you in the playoffs for sure. That is my final thoughts on this game. Let me know yours down below. How do you think this is going to impact the league? Because I think it's going to have a massive impact on the league. And what do you want? What else do you guys want to see from me? I have game reports, I get game reviews, game previews, and stuff like that. But if there's any other types of videos that you want to see, if you want to see me do anything else in these game reviews, but I thought this was just a very interesting game. Definitely go watch the press conferences for both coaches. They're both very interesting as well. I'm not going to dive into that, but thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate a like and a subscribe if you could. That'd really make my day. I'd appreciate it a lot. And I will see you guys next time on SNS.